Hi everyone, my name is Faisal Khalil. Welcome to another tutorial. So in this session, actually, we are going to get a deeper look at how virtual private clouds works, how subnets works, access control list works, and how Amazon works with internet and how it's secured, and many other topics. It's a very important topic. We gonna look at very shallow level. We are not gonna go very in deep at the associate level, but we'll keep it to the Amazon practitioner level, which means that you don't need a practical hands on how you perform it. Rather, you need to be conceptually clear this topic. Secondly, I will go through some exam related question, and thirdly, I'm gonna show you on Amazon console to get better feeling that how you can do this and how this stuff really works. Let's get started. Um, this is actually an example of the coffee shop, which is kind of not that much necessary. I'm gonna show you an easy example. So virtual private cloud is something container or a box which Amazon confine itself from the external exposure. By external exposure, we mean that any sort of external traffic. So, for example, here is the internet. Here is the internet, and internet tried to send some request, and these requests are encapsulated or put into the box at two levels. This is outer box, and this is inner box. Outer box is the cloud service or AWS clouds. Inner box is virtual cloud, private cloud. And inside cloud, you have different instances of public subnet or private subnet. Why do you need to segregate them as a private and public? Because there are some things which need to be public. You want to give some information to your end user, right? You want to give some information to the end user, and to give the information, you need to give some access as a public subnet. Why you need private subnet? Because sometimes application communicate with each other. For example, a database. Your application, which is a website, want to store the user information on the database. In such cases, you need private subnet. So, in similar fashion, you need to protect this. There are different protection layer Amazon introduced. First is the gate here. So the gate is something that they put in place the traffic to monitor that which kind of traffic is allowed and which is not. So there is the gateway concept. So any traffic which is coming through or going through is come through the gate. So there are some extra layers always. For example, VPN, virtual private networks, is the another source sometime where sometime you need to write stuff like protect it. This is the extra shield on the top. So this is kind of extra protection sometimes, and sometimes there is a router in between. So yeah, this is the umbrella level concept, but let's go into the deeper look how that stuff works. Here you can say that this is the internet gateway. This gateway is the doorway for the traffic to get into the cloud virtual private network. Inside virtual private network, there are EC2 instances, which is nothing but a computer. And on computer, there could be some, right? So yeah, so this is the simple computer where your web server and your server is sitting. This is the VPN connection. Sometime, for example, you have seen sometime that you have a router at your home, right? You have router at home. This is router actually could be a corporate data center or your home data center or whatever you can imagine in the real-time scenario. And this router is actually responsible for giving you access to the computer which are kind of at home, right? This if this computer is sitting at home, and this router is gonna give it to the access. This is your home, and then it's gonna expose through the internet. But anybody can catch this information when it is traveling. To make it safer, you create a VPN connection, which means that the traffic when it is going through to this area is completely encrypted, and there is a direct tunnel from this place to this place where the water is actually following through, right? And there is nothing else, and this is encrypted and this is shielded. And if somebody is trying to steal the information while transferring, he will fail. However, on simple internet, it is quite easier. So that's how cyber attacks works. So these are the this is the example. So similarly, there is some other services. AWS Direct Connect is the location. It is AWS Direct Connection is nothing but Connect location is nothing but private VPN actually, which tries to protect the information when it is traveling from the customer or any person who's using AWS from his router to the VPN gateway. Up to that point, they try to actually connect, because in between there is so this root router is nothing but the internet service provider router, because whenever you use internet at your home, this router, for example, Vodafone or Telecom or whatever router you're using, this router is connected to the partner router, which is internet service provider, for example. And then in a realistic scenario, when its traffic is even going through this, you're shielding this, right? So this is kind of a private passageway where the traffic could flow. So this is this concept. If you by now try to see that what is what, and we can maybe start airing isolate database containing customer personal information. Anything which contain personal information is kind of always private subnet. Create VPN connection between the VPC and internal corporate network. Anything that is bridge gap between the AWS and the private network is most likely this one. No. Create a VPN between the VPC and internal corporate network. I think so. This is virtual private gate, and support customer facing website. This is something website is customer facing, which needs the external exposure, and establish a dedicated connection between on-premises data. This is this is that. So let's check that what is what. Yeah, private, portal private gateway, public subnet, and direct. So yes, let's see the another topic, which is network access control list. Network access control list is nothing but, for example, if you're working in a restaurant and you have been given a customer list, so you have been given a these are the customer actually allowed to enter to the gate, and these are the customer not allowed. And for example, similarly, you also have been given a list to check the ID to not exit person who could not exit the gate. So this is the access control list simply. What it does actually, it just made for HTTP hypertext transfer protocol like website in the other world, uh, and data which is accessing port not in general simply sometimes most of the time this is the port 80. And the thing is that it's controlling that which port and which IP or which host could get into the access and get out the packet. This work at the packet basis, which means that it worked with packet. It is not stateful. Stateful means that it cannot remember the previous history of packets and act according to the history. It's just a non-stateful entity which couldn't be attached to any resource, which means that you cannot attach to any PC, but you can just control the specific stuff. So more advanced level stuff you can create with the security group. And what is the difference here is security group is stateful. Number one, stateful means that it could carry the past history of everything. And secondly, it could be attached to the anything because it is a rule. And if you have, for example, a group of 10 VPCs, and you can write only single rule as a group, and you can attach this security group to those group of VPCs or group of subnet, and all the subnet and any entity, even if you can also attach this to the computer or EC2 instance, and this is going to work simply. And you change one thing, and it could affect like 15 stuff. You don't have to attach this one by one, right? So yeah, as you could notice that network access control list comes into the pictures after it has been scrutinized from the gateway. This is when the customer enter into the gate, and after that, if you still have some permission that these people who paid like the minimum ticket, they should sit on that row, and people who paid VIP ticket should sit on the front rows, kind of thing. And this is the control list after the traffic enters here. Right, ACL is clear. This is nothing fancy, and it is kind of work for a virtual firewall. Sure, that's sure. And yeah, this is again security group. I have already explained that it could be attached to AWS EC2 or VPC or whatever entity or resources it. You can attach to the resources. It is the similar concept of IAM manager, where you define the users and groups and their roles so that you can attach them. And role is something which is could be attached to services, not only to individuals. So what is the difference between network access control lists and groups? This debate, we have discussed this. And well, now comes this domain name server. To understand the domain name server, we need to understand the concept of so in there are different, I mean, there are many different domain name provider, and normally they have there's a big registrar, right? There is a central register where whole name of your internet is available. So what is that? To understand this, for example, I have oh no. For example, I have this computer here, right? And this computer needs to somehow talk. What is this? This computer needs to to. And this is kind of color stuff actually. Okay. This is line. Free text. H tool. That was H tool. Okay. H mean the handwritten. Well, great. For example, here's the another computer. Okay, you have this computer. Now, normally how they, for example, in your browser, you sometimes write a web address, right? You at www.xyz.com, you write this. But what happen is that this is really IP address 198.192 plus 6 plus point 0.6. So for example, this is every device in the world has unique address. And this here has address 192.6.7, and these two computers try to communicate with each other. And if the internet and communication between these two is working, they should be able to call itself from the HTTP protocol by writing this IP address, HTTP and IP address. But what happens is that even if you write www.google.com, this correspond to the computer of the Google, where physically somewhere there is a computer which listens to that and doing its stuff. And you can imagine that you have a phone book at your home or in your mobile, even the contact list. If somebody calls you, a number appears on your screen. But if you save the name of that person when you call it or somebody calls it rather than number, it shows name of person XYZ. This is the similar concept. This is the phone book. Actually, when you try to call it on website, that phone book translate into the google.com rather than 198.192.6.7. It says too easy to remember. It is www.google.com, right? That's how actually in true setting domain name server work. But there is a central registrar or domain name server which actually assign or which has the phone book, which within this second try to find out that which computers correspond to which IP address it should call. So this is the simple concept of DNS, right? So when you call DNS, so that's what's happening. In the Amazon, they have their own DNS resolver and Route 53 service, which could be used to register a domain. I will show you later on how you can do this with like GoDaddy.com or Ionos or any big domain name provider. You can also get your domain from Amazon simply. This is another server, but it's going through locally. It's Amazon has its own domain name solver, but on the back end, it's work with the main registrar, which is the global directory for telephone number name of stuff similar to that, built on that top of that. Every service, every domain name server is built on top of that server, right? Manage DNS record. In DNS, what you can do is any DNS record has some CC names and some other DNS and DNSS or uniquely identifiable stuff which you need to add in your register. When you add in your register, it then work in the fashion in the background that it matches your name with your computer, like it map your traffic from the name whatever that you provided to that stuff, to that computer which is running your server. So for example, this is how Route 52 is working. As you can see that this is client, somebody is asking for the request here, and for example my website www.xyz.com is residing on this. Why we see the three computer? Because it is load balancer auto scaling group, which automatically increase when the more traffic come in and shrink when the less traffic. This is the elastic load balancing concept, which is automatic, and it's recognized by this symbol as well. And this is content delivery network service, which is creating edge copies. We have seen in the previous video to make content more faster and a lot of other stuff CloudFront is doing. But how it actually providing you this stuff with this service, Route 53. Route 53 is a DNS resolver on the one hand, and secondly, it's also registering the domain. So it's doing both of this stuff. Yeah. So yes, this is great. So let's quickly check the knowledge, and then we'll move to the which component of services can be used to establish a private dedicated connection between a company data center to AWS. So C could be the answer. Then which statement describes security groups? If there is stateful, allow all inbound traffic seems true. They are stateful, deny, not necessarily dry, but they can allow as well. Stateless, this is false. They are not stateless. They are stateless. They are stateful. Deny all in, and both of these words are, you know, not true, which means the A is the good candidate. Sorry, B is the good candidate uh, because by default they are stateful. Yeah, they are stateful and not necessarily only allow, but it's set by default. But by default they denied. You need to make them active. Yeah, that's true. Which component used to connect a VPC to the internet? Which component is used to connect a VPC to internet as a gateway? Should gateway, I guess. And which service is used to manage a DNS record for the domain name is 53. So great. Which statement describes DNS resolution? Translating domain into IP address looks true. This one. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, translating it. And yeah, now at this point, actually, you have seen this stuff. Now let's see how you create a VPCs actually in action. It is very easy. You go here, you create a VPC simply, and that's how it give you a preview. And this is the new feature of the Amazon console, which is very beautiful. So it already telling you that how your after creating your VPC, it is creating some subnet. It is also creating a route table automatically and network as well. If I name here my private cloud, and now you can say in the preview it's changing everything with this name, right? So that's how it's look like. This is the cider block. What is the cider block? Cider block is very simple, where it says that how much number of IP addresses could be added in that place in the first and second like 16-bit place. So it says 16, and if you say that what could be the possibilities, and if you raise to the power 2 to the power 16, and it gives you the possibilities of number of IP it can generate. And with this 18-bit, for example, this here. So this here means that last bit, the price here or at this place you can change, and you can change at this place. This is the 16-bit because 8 bits a protocol, it is 8-bit, and this one digit is 8-bit, and second it is 8-bit. In total it's 16-bit, but this won't change here. But you raise 2 to power 16 is equal to this much, and this much combination of IP addresses could be created with this /16, and this is the cider block. And if you increase, and then the size could increase too. So yeah, then it asks you to create a availability zone. You could choose two. If one is by default some problem happens, it should shift to two. And number of public is two, private is two. In total, it's creating a 4 subnets, which is great. And then net gateway is the pricey thing, but you could create the gateway, right? And right, if you want to create some additional features, you can create them. You can create a tag as well, enabling the hostname, enabling the resolution through gateway. Da, 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 da. Well, let me just create my VPC. Super duper. Now we have created a VPC. So everything is great. So we have ACL as well. We can create new ACL. We can edit the existing one as well to change any traffic. How you can change the traffic? You can edit the inbound rule or outbound rule. You can add new rule, right? You can remove the existing rule, and you can set that this is rule number 200 or whatever number you want. It is on based on which protocol? Does it based on TCP, UDP? There are different communication protocol with one computer perimeter, HTTP protocol, right? You can say that this is the HTTP protocol. HTTP protocol normally, works on that port 443, and you can say that I only allow any kind of address which is starting from 192. I would allow that. So you can also say that TCP control, right? You can also write a customized port number. You can also say that this is UDP or any other Samba base, mail server, HTTP without security is 8080, right? So by default, this is 80 port, and if you change it, it's gonna instantly affect. So this is the access control list, and you can attach that control list actually to your private cloud, right? Then you have your subnet available. The route is available here. You can create that route, and now you can also say that you have attached this ACL to this VPC, which is okay, which is great. But you want to create um, you want to create a EC2 instance where you want to run your actual website, or the data of your website is sitting there. So how you can do this? For example, for that you should create security IAM. I don't know. It should be an IAM, I guess. And then, well, hmm, security group. Um, this is the okay, great. You can always come to the security group. It comes under the network and security. Well, and here you can create any sort of customer security group. You can say that for my VPC, VPC 01, and allow specific traffic to my web server, right? And now it's saying that which VPC you're asking about, and I'm say that micro private network. And here again, I can add any rules. So I could say that I allow all the traffic here, for example, like that. Like that. Okay, it's already there. Or all IPv6, and this is kind of very risky rule. I can add tag to it, and the security group is created. And now what I can do to EC2, I can launch EC2, my VPC EC2 or my web server, right? I can say that it is running on Ubuntu machine. It is kind of free tier available, and then I could say please put that to specific VPC, which is my cloud. It automatically come to this subnet, which is private, and I could say that please put it into the public subnet. Right, please put it into the public so that I can always see it. And yeah, this is the security group rule. I could remove this and add another one, right? And I can select the existing one as well if I like. For example, from here, for my VPC, I have just created this security group, and then I can attach this, GB storage place, and I hit launch. And then what happens is that you have created EC2 instance, which is inside the VPC, and inside the VPC, their route, their internet gateway, NAT, and everything, right? Now comes to Route 53. Route 53. Let's do some Route 53. And Route 53, what you can do is that you can do all of these stuff very easily. For registering the domain, it is just similar. For example, if I write my website to check that is available or not, you can see that this is not available. If I say net, might be it's available. Yeah, this is available, but it's cost money per year, which is very reasonable. When I create the domain, then I have to resolve that domains inbound, point out to the outbound and inbound, and I could also transfer my existing domain to my Route 53. And in the end, you can also create a hosted zone. The second step would be to create a host zone. This host service is something public host domain where you zone is container which hold information about your web traffic. Right. For example, about your domain, your techpartner.de, you write here, you set description and you create a container around it, and you create a host zone. And the moment you create a host zone and you create this, then you need to create a record, right? And when you create a record, registered record, and then yeah, then actually it's work. You health check, you create a profile, and this profile is nothing but something to access your website. We are not gonna go into the deeper detail here, but in general, that's how the Route 53 and your security group ACL and everything works. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.